Every new house holds secrets, but this one remembered who used to live there. When Evelyn and Mark moved into their new home in Ohio, they thought they had found peace. A quiet neighborhood, fresh paint, a good deal. But the basement, that part always felt wrong. The air near the basement door was always colder. The dog refused to go near it. And every night they'd hear soft creaks, like footsteps below the floor. One morning, Mark found the basement door wide open. He swore he'd locked it. Evelyn brushed it off until the next night when she heard something whisper her name. It came from the basement vent, a slow, dragging whisper. "Eve, come back down." When Mark checked, he found wet footprints on the concrete stairs, but no water anywhere. The smell was rotten, like something that had been buried and dug up again. And on the wall, written in what looked like rust, were the words, "Welcome back." Later, they learned the house was owned by two brothers. One had disappeared. Police assumed he'd moved out, but the neighbors remembered hearing knocking from the basement months after he went missing. Evelyn and Mark moved out 3 weeks later. The new buyers, they're still living there, and every once in a while they complain about the same thing. The basement door never stays shut.
They said the house came fully furnished. They didn't mention the mirror that watches back. When Rachel and Chris bought their first home, it already had furniture, an antique set left by the previous owner. The centerpiece was a huge wall mirror in the upstairs hall. Rachel loved it until she realized something was wrong with her reflection. At first, it was subtle. The reflection lagged. She'd blink, and the reflection would blink half a second later. Then one night, she caught it smiling when she wasn't. Chris thought she was imagining things, until the morning he walked past the mirror and saw Rachel standing behind him, even though she was asleep in bed. They tried covering it with a cloth, but at 3 a.m., the sound of nails scratching on glass woke them both. When they uncovered it, there were handprints on the inside of the mirror, pressed against the surface from within. They called the realtor. He hesitated, then admitted something. The previous owner claimed that mirror belonged to her twin sister, who died here in 1978. They moved out 2 days later. The mirror stayed, bolted to the wall. And the next family that moved in? They asked for a discount, because no matter how many times they cleaned it, there were always fingerprints from the inside. Every blueprint showed 3 rooms, but they found a 4th, hidden behind the wall. In 2019, Daniel and Mia bought a newly renovated farmhouse. Everything looked brand new, except for one strange wall in the upstairs hallway. The paint was slightly different. The boards looked newer. Curious, Daniel measured the space and realized the hallway was 2 feet shorter than it should be. There was something behind that wall. He removed the drywall, revealing a hidden door. It wasn't on any of the blueprints. When they pried it open, a wave of damp air hit them. Inside was a tiny room, no windows, just a chair and a single candle burned down to the wick. On the wall were dozens of names carved in, scratched deep into the plaster. The last name was Mia. She hadn't been in the house a full week. They sealed the door immediately and called the contractor. But when he checked, he said something strange. That wall was rebuilt 2 weeks ago after a break-in. There shouldn't be anything behind it. That night, Daniel woke to the sound of someone knocking from inside the wall. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. The next morning, the names were gone, but a new one had been carved in the doorframe. Daniel.